So we have a Patreon poll topic. Ian, I don't know if I want Ian to explain the Patreon anymore to people. What
Patreon is a place where you go and you pledge money. Essentially, you pay us once a month. They are paying us once a month.
They're actually sending the money to Patreon, not to us. We don't get the full amount.
We're getting paid once a month by support from viewers like you.
There you go.
And,
viewers like you are supporting
like
us.
You
That's acceptable to me.
With money.
And Ian can be so far from the mic, I can barely hear him.
Money.
You were bad, by the way, last week, being away from the mic. There's sometimes you're like, hey, I'm just talking about this podcast topic. And I'm like, what?
I'm just chiming in from the kitchen.
All right, so what do we got?
Patreon.com/CU podcast.
There you go.
What is it? What's the question? What do we got?
You're antsy today. You got some weird.
I am.
We actually both
today.
had some weird energy going on. We had some like very weird tethering energy, like that new Switch game. We're like locked together and like swinging each other into people. In third place, I brought it back. What would a CU podcast? We look like 25%. 25%.
25 is not bad.
It got second like 3 weeks in a row. In second place, the one I don't want chosen because I don't know what to answer for this one. Games you've wanted to finish but find too difficult at 31%. And at number one, the one Pat pulled out of his butt, which actually is a decent topic, I have to admit. How has having a game collection affected personal relationships?
Take it away, Pat.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. It's never added to them, I'll say. It's never it enhanced personal relationships. So I have really my main ex that I've had in San Diego that I'm still friends with. The game collection.
Main ex.
Well, I only had one long-term girlfriend.
I'm just saying
while being in
an
San Diego.
interesting way to think of it. The
main ex. Not like I don't count 3-4 month relationships. That doesn't count.
Sure.
You got to hit like 6-8 months for it to count. You have to admit the parents more than once.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair.
So the main ex, the collection to her was never bad, just because it related at least to income and my job or my career in some aspect. Plus, it wasn't something that bled over into the rest of the relationship on its surface. It's not like I would talk to her about Nintendo games. I didn't talk to her about TurboGrafx games. I never said, "Oh, did you ever play this game?" Like I never did. And she, as a kid, like her dad had a tabletop Donkey Kong in the early '80s, and they had ColecoVision.
Cocktail table.
Cocktail,
okay,
yes. Yeah. I believe Donkey Kong. And then had like ColecoVision and had Nintendo. So most people grew up with video games.
Yeah.
Girls, boys. And so there's a familiarity and you like them. Like Legend of Zelda. Oh, yeah, Legend of Zelda. But you don't want it constantly in your conversations, video games.
Sure.
There's other things to talk about and do. So it never bled into that. What did bleed into, though, was seeing all the shit I compiled in every corner of the condo. That she didn't like at all.
Sure.
She didn't want to see, like, the shit out in the living room. Like, this should be a more relaxing place. She didn't like the fact that she hated the fact that on Sunday mornings, if she slept over, I went to the swap meet.
Sure.
That I didn't see her till I got home at like 10:30 or 11. And then, then we would do a brunch or eat or something. But it's like, wow, you don't want to spend time with me? Like a beautiful woman that I'm like in bed with you on a Sunday morning. It was like, really? And it's like, no, I got to get a swap meet. Like, she didn't verbalize like that. But,
sure.
You would be thinking that. Like, what's wrong with you? There was a lot wrong with me. But I was still in my stage that I had to go every single week.
Yeah.
And almost sometimes on a Saturday as well. That was still, we're talking 2013, 14, 15, where I'm still like,
harsh.
It was harsh for me because I'd call Ian up and say, Ian, you got this? You got that? You want me to buy this? And sometimes I'd buy the stuff for him. You got this handheld? Anyway, half the time Ian pretended not want to, we want to hear it. Half the time he didn't care. Anyway. So that was bad. But she knew that there was intrinsic value to it. The value because I had the podcast, YouTube channel, go to conventions. If I didn't have that, though, would it have been a bigger deal? That's hard to say because obviously she knew I had passion for it, and it was, I guess, on some surface level, it was cool that I had the collection, but it was never like, she never said anything like, well, I hate that collection or I hate that you have all this stuff. So I think she thought it was okay. It wasn't too over the line for her, except the same way you probably think, the overflow is bad.
Yeah.
Which I agree with now. There's overflow now I got to get rid of. Like, and this is with a Castle Country. So that was it affected it, but not to the point where it damaged. It just was sort of like, I guess, a nuisance from time to time. However, in New Jersey, when I only had the number of Nintendo games to have, like one shelf of games like that, and maybe part of another, I had like 500 games. Even though that's all of them. Anyway, I had 500 games. I didn't have them all. There was the one lady I went on 2 dates with. First date was fine. She didn't see the carts as an issue. The second date, though, when she came back, I guess we went out to a restaurant. We came back, and she looked at the game shelf, and she said, "Oh, this is some 40-year-old virgin stuff. It looks like." I never saw her again after that. That was it. And the funny part about that was, in my New Jersey garden apartments, the only stuff I had displayable was literally 2 shelves of Nintendo games in the living room. That was it. I had no overflow. My collection was small. Most of my stuff was packed away into the crawl space of my closet crawl space under the stairs. That's how small my collection was versus now, where it's gone up about 15 times in size since New Jersey.
Right.
I'm not even exaggerating. I had enough games that, like, all my Super Nintendo games, N64, were like in a box, like a box that could fit.
Mm-hmm.
All my Turbo stuff in a box.
Sure.
Whatever I found at the swap meets then. But yeah, I had the Nintendo collection, but nothing really was displayed besides, those IKEA Billy shelves where they're like bigger. So I stacked them vertically.
Yeah.
So it wasn't extreme. It was just there in the living room, and she couldn't handle it. But like I said, it was only 2 dates. Then we made out like once. We didn't make out that second date. So.
Oh well.
What about you, Ian? How has game collections affected your personal relationships?
I don't know that. Well, I mean, if anything in recent history, it was a boon. Not so much my collection,
Ed Boon,
but just working in video games, doing stuff like that. It's how I met Vani. And when Vani and I first started dating, we were both broke as shit. So the fact that I had games and she had games, it gave us shit to do.
You bonded
endlessly. Oh yeah, the first few months of our relationship.
What year was it, you think?
We started dating roughly in 2009, I'd say. That we got more serious in probably like 10 or 11. But I mean, we would sit there and just play fighting games endlessly. I mean, that's just what we did, and that's how we bonded, was beating the shit out of each other in video games.
And you still do.
So yeah. I mean, it's never been a huge detriment to my dating life, but then again, I didn't go on a lot of like blind dates. I didn't do a lot of internet dating or anything like that. So
Sure.
The people who were coming over that I was hanging out with would have already known that about me anyways.
I would say what helped me at least a bit. I'm trying to remember. There was actually one date. It was Jesus Christ. I got some weird stories. One girl watched me beat Contra in New Jersey.
I just heard one girl watched me beat, and that was
that's you're
hot. Holy shit!
She watched me defeat Contra
Uh-huh.
without the 30-man code, and she was impressed by that. She was like, "Oh, that's interesting." But I think what helped with the main ex was that the stuff I let her know that this isn't like me like collecting little items that are just garbage. Like this is worth money. A lot of this stuff. There's value in here. There's value. I could sell my collection tomorrow to someone if I wanted to. There's value to it. So I think that helped as well. It's not like you were just like collecting knickknacks that were just like
Sure.
Like, oh, like you're collecting little bobbleheads that no one will ever want outside. You know what I mean? Or like those, the troll dolls in the 70s, they came back in the style in the 90s, the troll dolls.
Those are fucking awful.
It seems like every 25 years,
Awful.
troll dolls, they're back again, right?
Fucking awful.
Troll dolls every 25 years come back.
There was a Trolls CG movie like 3 years ago or something like that.
But then they were big in the early 90s, and then they were big in the 70s.
Uh-huh.
So they're going to come around again like 2035, they're going to be big again? They're going to come back around?
It's fucking haunted bastards.
You don't like them?
No,
I had a couple as a kid.
I think I did too. Because I think my mom, I had some like from when my mom like had the originals.
I'm still looking for the one that came with the Trolls of Treasure Island game. That's a very particular one. I tried. It is not one I think that exists outside of it. It's an Ace Troll doll. I need it if anyone out there has it. Anyway, so that's it for our Patreon poll topic, where viewers like you can support us at patreon.com/CU podcast.